My dear students, good morning. Today, I am going to take another unit under the NEET chemistry, states of matter. This is the fifth unit. In this unit, gases and liquids we are going to discuss, but we are concentrating more for gases, but only a few, three minute topics in liquids. I am Dr. R. Gunasekaran, Professor of Chemistry, is taking class for you. So before going in detail of the states of matter, as you know already, matter can be broadly classified into two types. One is the physically classified, chemically classified. Physically, here I have shown 5 types of matter. Matter exists in the 5 forms based on physical classification depending upon the physical property. 1 is gas, 2 liquid, 3 solid, 4 plasma, and 5 Bose-Einstein condensate. So all these I have already discussed in detail. You can go and see if you want in that is unit 1 I have discussed. So under the chemical classification, we have molecular element, molecular atomic element, molecular compound, then mixtures that we have to discuss. So, but only in this case, I am going to concentrate, as I already told you, only gas and liquid. So here, kindly follow. First, let me concentrate on gases. Whenever I say gases means, I have to give the physical characteristic properties of gases. What are the physical properties of gases? So here I have given 5 important physical property. 1, gases have no definite shape and no definite volume. No definite shape and volume, meaning no definite shape and no definite volume. Because volume you can change and the shape also you can change it depending upon the container. Number 2, gases are highly compressible. By compressing the gases, you can convert into liquid. Third, gases exert pressure equally in all directions. Suppose if you take a container, in a closed container, inside you have gases. So what will happen now? It will go and collide on all the sides of the container. So it exerts pressure equally in all directions. That means this direction, this direction, this direction, this direction. In all directions, it will move. That's why gases exert pressure equally in all directions in the container. The next one. Gases have low density than liquids and solids. Low density because they are far away. What is the density? Mass by volume. So automatically mass is very small. The density equal to mass by volume. So in the case of gases, mass will be very, very low, but volume is very high. So density always low density compared to liquid and solid. So solid will have high density. Number 5, gases mix uniformly and completely without any external agency. What is the important information? Let us give a simple idea for you. Suppose I have a container. So this is the container, the filled container. And same way, in another way, I have another container. Kind of like this. Here one gas 1, here gas 2. So if I connect these two by a connector, Automatically, without any external agency, the gases 1, gas 2 will mix together automatically, uniformly, completely, without any external agency. This is the physical characteristic of gases. Okay. Now, with this idea, let me go now. Whenever we say about the gases, there are forces acting between the molecules, gaseous molecule. So I can give a term for this: attractive intermolecular forces. Attractive intermolecular forces, I can give the name for this one. So whenever you are keeping a gas in a container, because you cannot keep gas in openly, only in closed container you can keep. So, see, the overall force acting on the gases, generally we'll call it as van der Waals force. Generally. But this van der Waals force, we can further classify into 3 types. I am going to see one by one. So what is the way? Kindly follow. This is the van der Waals force acting on the between molecules, gaseous molecules. So there are 3 types of van der Waals force. One, I can say non-polar interaction. One gas is non-polar, another gas is non-polar interaction. Example, N2, O2, like this, non-polar. So here another is polar, SCl, that is polar interaction, that is SCl interaction. And third force, one is polar, another is non-polar. So these are the 3 types of interaction that is taking place in the molecule. The molecules are gases. So I will call this one attractive intermolecular forces. I hope you have clear idea. One is non-polar interaction, intermolecular force. Non-polar, the polar intermolecular force. Another is polar non-polar intermolecular force. So let me go one by one now. The first one, dispersion force or London force. I can give it for non-polar interaction, I can give the name dispersion force or London force. Dispersion force or London force. The force of attraction between 2 non-polar or temporary dipoles of atom A and atom B is called London force or dispersion force. Kindly follow me. These temporary dipoles are induced on the molecules also, not only in the atoms, non-polar atom like helium gases molecules. So for molecule also, H2, molecular element also, this force will act. Now let me give some more information under this. Intermolecular forces are those of force of attraction and repulsion between interacting particles, that is atoms and molecules. I have already informed you. Attractive molecular forces are known as generally van der Waals force. I told you already. General term is van der Waals force, which vary considerably in magnitude and include 3 forces. One is dispersion force or London force. Number 2, dipole force. And number 3, induced dipole force. That is, non-polar molecule will be getting induced by the dipole. So these are the 3 forces. So let me concentrate on the dispersion force or London force. Atoms and non-polar molecules, homodiatomic gaseous molecule, are called non-polar molecule. Cl2, F2, N2, O2, etc. are non-polar. Atom, helium, neon, argon, these are all atom gases. So atoms and non-polar gaseous molecules are electrically symmetrical and have no dipole moment. Here you must know what is dipole moment. I can give by mu, dipole moment equal to charges between the two and the distance between the two charges. So the total charges between the the polarized the part and the distance between the two. Say for example, let me take a HCl gas. So this will be partially positive, this will be partially negative. Kindly follow. So what will happen now in this case? So this C is the product of the charges, 1 into 1, 1. So T distance between. So this unit is we are expressing in the form of mu, that is normally d by units. D will be expressed. And you have no dipole moment because the electronic charge cloud is symmetrically distributed. So when it is unsymmetrically distributed, only dipole moment arises. Kindly follow. But a dipole may develop momentarily even in such atom and molecules. This can be understood as follows. So let me explain. With a suitable example, let me explain now. The London force. You take example, symmetrical distribution of electronic charge cloud. Say same gaseous atom A, gaseous atom B. Uniformly distributed. So it is non-polar. But what will happen now? This is we are showing in the A. Now the B, what will happen now? Atom gets polarized. So symmetrical distribution is getting unsymmetrical distribution. So what way? There is a proton, there is electron always in an atom. So one side positive, so negative will come automatically other side. So this arrow indicates negative part of the atom, gaseous atom. So what will happen now? This will induce the atom B so such a way that positive will come in front of the negative and the negative on the other side of the atom B. So the unsymmetrical distribution arises. See, atom A with instantaneous dipole, more density on right hand side, more density means electrons on the right hand side, and the atom B with the induced dipole on the again right hand side the intensity. Kindly follow. So, C, again under the London force, atom A with more electron density on the left hand side. Now, previously I showed on the right hand side. Suppose if it is induced on the left hand side, then arrow indicates like this. So, this force of attraction was first proposed by Fritz London, German physicist, and hence his name, this force is called London force. Please follow. Dispersion force is called London force. It is also known as dispersion force. So automatically atom B also polarized like this. Okay. So these London forces are important only at a short distances of approximately 500 picometer. Only at the 500 picometer, between the 500 picometer, only this is active. Beyond that, this is ineffective. Okay, let me go for the next one. Dipole-dipole force. That is polar-polar interaction. SCl interaction. Let me explain now. The force of attraction between two polar molecules, in this case SCl, is called dipole-dipole force. And the ends of dipoles possess partial charges usually indicated by Greek letter delta. See below, I am giving this H here, delta plus, Cl, delta minus. Same in this molecule, delta plus left side, right side, Cl minus, delta minus. So partial charges are always less than the unit electronic charge. Very, very important. What is the electronic charge? It is calculated already, even by, in the electrochemistry we will be discussing this. In the, we can calculate the Faraday's law, we can calculate this one. So 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulomb is the electronic charge. Examples, dipole-dipole interaction between two HCl molecule is an example. So whenever any polar molecule, the force acting is dipole-dipole forces. Please follow. The third case, continuation of the second, dipole forces, this interaction is stronger than London force. Please follow. That is, both are non-polar. So one getting undergoes polarization. So it is also inducing another one to also undergo polarization. So that is very, very weak. Whereas this dipole forces interaction is stronger than London force. The attractive force decreases with the increase of distance between them. Kindly follow. If the distance are far away, the force will be less. Very nearer, force will be greater. Dipole interaction energy between stationary polar molecules. Stationary means the molecule without moving, that is specifically solid state. It is directly proportional to the 1 by r cube, the radius to the power of 3 in a solid state. Whereas in gaseous state, where the molecule will be allowed to rotate, it is directly proportional to 1 by r to the power of 6. See the difference? In solid state, 1 by directly proportional to 1 by inversely proportional to 1 by r cube, and this is inversely proportional to 1 by r6. Kindly follow. Where r is the distance between two polar molecules, SCl. Besides dipole interaction, some polar molecule can also interact by London force also. Kindly follow. So, when I am discussing the dipole interaction, so I have to mention hydrogen bond, because this is very, very important. Let me take HF gas. Kindly follow. This we have to take only for gases. Should not think of liquid, should not think of solid. So I am taking HF is the gas. Even in vapor state, there is a bond. This bond is called hydrogen bond. Intermolecular hydrogen bond. We have discussed under the chemical bond. So, this hydrogen bond is a special dipole interaction. So, between HF and HF, the hydrogen bond is the force acting. The energy of hydrogen bond varies from 10 to 100 kilojoule per mole depending upon the nature of the dipolar molecules. Kindly follow. Now, I will go for the third one. Third force, that is induced dipole forces. That is interaction between a polar molecule and a non-polar molecule. See here, a polar molecule AB, A plus B minus, the density on the right hand side. The force of electrons between polar molecule having permanent dipole and non-polar molecule having lacking permanent dipole, uniformly distributed. This is called dipole-induced dipole. The first case is originally it is already polarized, but this is not getting polarized. Non-polar molecule is not getting polarized. But when they come closer, this polar molecule will induce the non-polar molecule also to get induced. So because of that atom will become positive this side and negative this side. So negative and positive facing each other. So some sort of force of attraction taking place. This force we are calling it as dipole-induced dipole force. This force we'll call it as dipole-induced dipole force. Please follow. So normally a specific example is this is HCl and another is chlorine. So between these we can, or I can simply say HCl, in the case of atom, helium. We can take. But definitely both should be gases. So helium, atomic gas, chlorine, molecular gas. Okay. Next one. So when we are discussing about the attractive forces, I have to mention about repulsive forces also. What is the repulsive? So proton-proton repulsion, electron-electron repulsion will be there and when the molecule approach each other. Molecules also exert repulsive force on one another when two molecules are brought to close contact with each other. Liquids and solids are hard to compress, whereas gases can be easily compressed. Okay, that is regarding for intermolecular forces between gas molecules. Dear students, these intermolecular forces are well discussed in the CBSE but not in the state board books. Okay, but need syllabus, we need this. So let me now concentrate gas laws which are applicable for any gas. Number one, there are different types of gas laws. Here I am giving nearly 7 gas laws, important gas laws. This will be, you will be studying in physics also under the gas. 1. Boyle's law proposed in 1662. Charles law 1780 proposed. Gay-Lussac law was introduced 1780. Dalton's law of partial pressure was introduced 1801. Avogadro's law was introduced in 1811. And lastly, Graham's law of diffusion was introduced in 1848. My dear students, please memorize the name. Boyle's law, Charles' law, Gay-Lussac law, Dalton's law of partial pressure, Avogadro's law, Graham's law of diffusion. Okay, let me go one by one. And I will give you the important, because problem will be asked in each law in the NEET chemistry. So you have to memorize the formula. What is Boyle's law? I can define by 2 ways. So one statement I want to give this way, that is, for a given mass of a gas at constant temperature, Boyle's law means temperature is constant. Temperature is constant. Kindly follow, temperature is constant. The pressure is inversely proportional to its volume. Pressure inversely proportional to its volume at constant temperature. At a constant temperature. So in order to equate this equation, so I can write this way. What way? P equal to K by V. K is the constant, or the constant equal to PV. That is PV equal to constant. Kindly follow. K where K is the constant. Kindly follow. Suppose this equation, if you apply for 2 different gases, one is gas 1, gas 2, if you apply, then the same equation will take this form. That is P1 V1 equal to P2 V2. Because P1 V1 equal to K, P2 V2 also equal to K. Right side equal, so left side is also equal. So you have to memorize this whenever pressure and volumes are given at a constant temperature, then you think of Boyle's law and solve the problem. Now, the second statement of Boyle's law, previously I told you I have taken pressure. Now I am going to give the statement in the form of volume. For a given mass of a gas at a constant temperature, that will not change, at a constant temperature, the volume is inversely proportional to its pressure. Volume is inversely proportional to its pressure, or volume equal to K by P, or PV equal to K. That is, kindly follow, PV by equal to K, that is a constant. As in the previous case, if you apply for 2 different gases, gas 1 and gas 2, finally you are getting the same formula, P1 V1 equal to P2 V2. My dear students, kindly memorize this formula, because they will give the statement what they will take 2 different gases, P1 will be given, P2 will be given, V2 will be given, V1 will be asked. Out of 4 factors, by giving 3 factors, the 4th factor will be asked. So you should be very careful in this. The second law. Before that, let me give some more information regarding Boyle's law. So when you plot pressure versus volume at different temperature, we are getting different curves. For lower temperature, just see here 200 degree, the curve that is we plotted. At 400 degree, another curve, 600 degree Kelvin, another curve. Kelvin means the plus 273, that is 0 degree plus 273. Suppose if I am having 0 mean 0 plus 273, so that is nothing but 273 Kelvin. So 600 higher temperature, middle, this is lower. The what just see the 200 temperature pressure is, it is increase the pressure here, volume is also increasing, both all the cases. But what is the idea is the corresponding the height, it is the intensity, it is changing. Okay. So in other way also I can plot. This is the most important. Kindly follow. So this we'll call it as, these curves are called isotherm. And here also I can call it as isotherm. So how I am plotting pressure versus 1 by volume. Previously what I have plotted, pressure versus volume. But here I am just to Boyle's law, pressure versus 1 by volume. That is inversely proportional volume. So if I plot for 3 different temperature, 1 temperature, 2 temperature, 3, here T1 is the lower temperature, T2, 3 is the higher temperature, I am getting curves. So these curves also will call it as isotherm. Kindly follow. Now, the second law, Charles' law. What is Charles' law? So Charles' law here, the most important thing is, kindly follow, the pressure is the kept constant. Kindly remember, first temperature dPV, you remember like this, dPV constant. Boyle's law temperature constant, Charles' law pressure constant, then we are going for another law, that is the Gay-Lussac's law volume constant. So in this law, for each degree raise in temperature, I can give statement Charles' law 2 ways. This is the original one from the origin. I will give first statement. Suppose I have a gas, a particular volume of a gas. So let me say V0 I have at NTP. But that means at 273 centigrade, I have, that is 273 centigrade, I am having V0, volume at 273, that is original volume at 0 degree means 273 Kelvin. 0 degree means 273 Kelvin. Kindly follow. Suppose if I am increasing by 1 degree temperature from 0 degree, that is 273, then if you increase to 274 Kelvin, by 1 degree increase, the volume changes. What way? Let me read first, kindly follow. For each degree raise in temperature at constant pressure, pressure is constant, the volume of a given mass of a gas, volume is V0, increases by 1 by 273 of its original volume. Original volume V0. Gas at 0 degree centigrade. So this statement, just see here, I am giving in this form. Vt, volume at 1 degree, equal to V0, volume at 0 degree centigrade, plus 1 by 273 into V0. This is the statement. And this statement I can rearrange to get an equation, kindly follow. What way I am rearranging to get a final equation, kindly follow. So I am keeping V2 equal to V0 plus 1 by 273 V0. Let me expand. Common factor is V0. So 1 plus 1 by 273, or V0 into 270 by 273, or V0 by into T2 T0. So T2 by T0 I can take Vt by V0 equal to T2 by T0. Kindly follow. What I am getting this, from that equation, Vt equal to V0 plus 1 by 273 V0. From that I am deriving this equation. What is the final? V volume is directly proportional to absolute temperature. That is the final conclusion I am getting. Kindly follow. So I can give statement directly this way. At a constant pressure of any gas, at a constant pressure for any gas, the volume is directly proportional to absolute temperature. Or I can equate this kT or V by T equal to constant. Kindly follow. This is the important. Suppose if I take two different gases, gas 1, gas 2, V1 T1 equal to V2 T2. Kindly follow, here it is there. Kindly see here. V1 T1 equal to V2 T2 for two different gases. This also you have to apply. First case Boyle's law P1 V1. But here V1 by T, V by T is constant. Please have it in mind. Okay. So the second statement, finally we arrived. No, now I am giving in the statement. Thus, Charles' law states that the volume of a fixed mass of a gas, given mass of a gas, directly proportional to its absolute temperature. This is the second type. The first statement I have given already, Vt equal to V0 plus 1 by 273 V0. I have already explained you. So the two equations are there. Both equations, from this we are now concluding this one. So idea is same. So the second statement, Charles' law, said that the volume of a fixed mass of a gas is directly proportional to its absolute temperature. Charles found that for all gases at any given pressure volume, at any given pressure, volume increases with the increase of temperature. Whenever temperature increases, volume, that is, gases will expand. And normally straight line curves are obtained. Each line is called isobar. In the case of Boyle's law, isotherm. Iso means therm. Therm means thermal. Temperature is constant. This is isobar. Pressure constant. Isobar B. You remember, sound is identical to P. Pressure constant. The next. So see this. I am plotting V versus T for different pressures. P1, P2, P3, P4. But P4 is greater than P1. So all gases obey Charles' law at very low pressure. At very low pressure, it is almost behave same way. That all gases obey Charles' law at very low pressure and very high temperature. So very low pressure means the gases are far away. Very high temperature means will come closer, that is again this law will not work. So all gases obey Charles' law at very low pressure, so it will obey. And a very high temperature, what will happen? It will expand again. Gas will expand, so it will move away, far away. So these are the two conditions. The next law, Gay-Lussac's law. I told you, you remember this way, TPV, temperature, pressure, V constant. Here just Gay-Lussac's law, V is kept constant. At a constant volume, the pressure of a given mass of a gas varies directly with the temperature or directly proportional to absolute temperature. Mathematically, I can write P equal to P proportional to T at constant volume. So, not equate, I will put P equal to KT, where K is a constant, or I can write P by T is a constant. Just like V by T, now here P by T is a constant. For two different gases, automatically P1 by T1 equal to P2 by T2. Please remember, this is the second case in terms of volume we are discussing. That is the Dalton's the second law we have discussed. In Gay-Lussac's law, pressure P by T we are discussing. Kindly remember. So going for the curve now, when I plot pressure versus temperature, directly proportional temperature at constant volume, the curves, various curves are obtained. This is volume 1, volume 2, volume 3, volume 4. Volume 4 is greater than volume 1. So these curves are called isochore. Core, kindly follow, indicating that is the volume at constant volume. Each line of this group is called isochore. Now, the next most important law, Dalton's law of partial pressure. Dalton's law of partial pressure. So this specific law is not applicable for all gases. Kindly follow. But other gases, we have already seen that it is obeys. But the Dalton's law has some specific character. Let me say now. The total pressure exerted by the mixture of non-reacting gases. Please follow. So, only for non-reacting gases, Dalton's law of partial pressure will apply. What is the non-reacting? Chemically inert. N2, N2, O2, O2, like this. Between that, so this Dalton's law of pressure will not. So, the total pressure exerted of the mixture of non-reacting gases, kindly follow, non-reacting gases, is equal to. So, if it is reacting gases, HCl will react with another gas. You can take some other gas, the ammonia gas. So, automatically they will react to produce ammonium chloride. So, this is reacting, you cannot apply. So, the total pressure exerted by the mixture of non-reacting gases is equal to sum of the partial pressure of the individual gases. Very, 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 very important. That means, let me take now, there are three different gases. Gas 1, gas 2, gas 3. So, this is the pressure of gas 1, pressure of gas 2, pressure of gas 3. Suppose if I mix three gases, a known volume of three gases. So, if I want to calculate totally what is the volume of the total volume of the mixture of gases. So, mathematically, I can give P total is equal to P1 plus P2 plus P3 at a constant temperature and volume. Please keep it in mind, applicable only for non-reacting gases. Where now, what is P1? So now I can give P1, I can give in the form of, this is the partial pressure. Because total pressure, this is the partial pressure of 1, partial pressure of 2, partial pressure of, so sum of the partial pressure is equal to nothing but total. So the P1 I can give it in the form of, there's an equation, this is the total. So if you want to calculate P1 equal to X1 into P total. P total, total pressure. What is X1? Mole fraction of gas 1. Please follow. These we have discussed under the basic concept of chemistry under the mole fraction. Mole fraction of solute, mole fraction of solvent we have discussed. Kindly refer if you are. What is X1? Nothing but that is N1 by N1 plus N2. So 1 for solvent and the 2 for solute, the in chemistry convention is used. Okay. The next gas I will go for Avogadro's law. This is the very, very, very important law. Only Avogadro introduced the term called molecule. Molecule, the term was introduced only by Avogadro. Dalton introduced atom, Avogadro introduced molecule. So what is Avogadro law? Equal volumes of all gases. Equal volumes of all gases. I can say 22.4 liters. Please memorize this volume. This we have discussed under the basic concept of chemistry. Mole I have discussed. Equal volumes of all gases. 22.4 liters of all gases under the same conditions of temperature and pressure contain equal number of molecules. That is Avogadro number of particles. This is the law. Please follow this. This is also known as Avogadro's hypothesis. Let me repeat again. If you say about the molecule, you can say Avogadro hypothesis. If we restrict only gases, you say Avogadro's law. Equal volumes of all gases under the same conditions of temperature and pressure contain equal number of molecules. Suppose I can say, let me take some two examples for you without any confusion. Suppose I want to helium. Helium is a inert gas, atomic element. So 22.4 liters will give the equal number of molecules they are saying. In this case, atom, particles, 6.023 into 10 to the power of 23 atoms. Suppose if I take chlorine, 22.4 liters, in that case it is molecules. So, 10 to the power of 23. 6.03 into 10 to the power of 23 molecules. Any gas you take, a molecular gas, the molecule will be same number of molecules, that is normally represented by Avogadro number. This is nothing but Avogadro number. N for the A for Avogadro, N for number, Avogadro number. So mathematically, I can now use the term V is directly proportional to N. N is the number of mole. Or V is equal to K into N. K is a constant, where K is a constant. Or I can write as in the previous cases, V by N is a constant. Very, very easy. Just like we know V by T constant, P by T constant. Same way here, V by N is constant. Same way, if you take two different gases and apply this formula, I can now write V1 by N1 equal to V2 by N2. So what is the advantage of this law? If you have two gas laws, if you know the volume of one gas, volume of other gas, the total number of the other gas 2, so volume number of gas 1, the mole number of gas 1 can be calculated. Suppose V1 is known, V2 you know, N2 you know, so N1 can be calculated. That means out of 4 factors, if 3 factors are known, 1 factor can be calculated. Only problem will be asked by this way. The next most important is Graham's law of diffusion. Graham's law of diffusion. According to Graham, the rate of diffusion of a gas is inversely proportional to square root of its density or its molar mass. Molar mass. Molar mass means either atomic weight or molecular weight. Kindly follow. So, in terms of mathematical form, it is given R inversely proportional to 1 by square root of D density, or R is inversely proportional to 1 by square root of capital M molecular mass or molar mass. If it is atomic gas, atomic mass, the molecular mass. Suppose for two different gases, I can write now R1 by R2 equal to, so if we rearrange, root 2 D2 by root D1. That is equal to root M2 by root M1. This is very, very, very important. Every year question is asked under the Graham's law of diffusion. Please memorize, my dear students. Now, let me come for the most important gas, that is called ideal gas. So far what I am using gases specifically, I say, suppose I told you in the earth, that is the universe, there are 11 gases totally, I told you. That means the terms of elements. Please follow elements, 11 gases. So don't compare with the compound that we are producing in the laboratory. So don't say ammonia gas. So that what I am saying is element. So when you say element, 6th element inert gases. Then again 5 elements I have given already, hydrogen. Then if you go for nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, chlorine. So 6 plus 5, 11 gases. They are totally present there. So here, now I am introducing a term ideal gas. So for that I am deriving an equation, ideal gas equation. So far any gas will behave ideally at a particular condition. That means what we are going to derive the equation, ideal gas equation, it can be any gas can apply, but at a particular conditions. So now I will show you how you have to derive. Very simple. You take only 3 laws: Boyle's law, Charles' law and Avogadro's law, and from that you can derive. So Boyle's law, two statement, you take only volume is inversely proportional to pressure you take. So first statement, volume inversely proportional to 1 by P at constant temperature. Equation 1. Charles' law, we know directly proportional to temperature, 2. Avogadro's law, V is directly proportional to N mole at constant temperature and pressure, 3. So that means I can combining all the three equations. V is proportional to Nt by P. Or in order to equate, I am introducing a constant R, where R is a gas constant. 8.314 joule it is. If we have different values, I will come later, that one. Different gas values for R. So R is a gas constant. So PV equal to nRT. This is the ideal gas equation. Please follow, my dear students. P pressure, V volume, N mole, RT, gas constant, T temperature. Now, so I told you already, I will give the value of R. Please remember, this is not only for chemistry, but also physics will be very important. Because depending upon the nature of equations, you have to substitute suitable value of R. So if I want to introduce in terms of Joule, the value is 8.314 joule per Kelvin per mole. If you want to introduce as an ergs, 8.314 into 10 to the power of 7 ergs per Kelvin per mole. If you want to introduce as calories, 1.987 calories or approximately 2 calories per Kelvin per mole. Or in terms of bar atmosphere, 8.314 10 to the power of minus 2 bar liter per Kelvin per mole. So 4 ways we can explain the value of R. So that is your duty depending upon what is involved in the equations. So if joule is involved, joule. Ergs is involved, ergs. Calorie is involved, calorie. Bar is involved. Atmosphere is the fourth one. Kindly follow. So now let me define ideal gas equation. How this ideal gas equation was derived based on two assumptions. All gases obey ideal gas equation. What are the? We have seen 6 gases, gas laws. All gases obey ideal gas equations. And this ideal gas equation was derived from only from 3 laws. We have seen already. Now, it is found that real gas, we will come later. What is real? What is ideal? What are the difference? We will come later. What is the real gas? Do not obey ideal gas law under all conditions, because the ideal gas law is derived based on 2 assumptions. This is the very, very important. My dear students, please keep it in your mind. Ideal gas equation is applicable to all gases based on 2 assumptions. One is, there is no force of attraction between gas molecules. In the beginning itself, he informed there is a force of attraction acting between the real molecules. But if you consider ideal, then just see there is no force of attraction between gas molecules. Number 2, volume occupied by gas molecule is negligible compared to the total volume of the container. Suppose if you have, this is a container, there are some gases inside. If the total volume, if you compare with the volume of these molecules, the volume occupied by the gas molecule is negligible compared to the volume of the container. Kindly follow. My dear students, I hope you have enjoyed the class. Thank you very much for you. Dear students, if you are viewing my videos in YouTube, kindly help me by giving like and share with your friends, and kindly subscribe also by pressing the button so that my every video will come to you, will reach you. So this video is suitable for 8th student, 9th student, 10th, 11th and 12th students, and more important for plus 1 and plus 2 students. So students who are waiting for NEET entrance examinations, that is plus 1, plus 2 and plus 2 completed students, kindly visit Vetty Daughters. View our achievements for 20 years, it is given on the home page. Our Vetty Daughters has 50 to 60 recorded lessons in each subject and 50 to 60 NEET model tests unit wise. 200 tests were given in the Vetty Daughters. All these questions are taken from the Indian famous question paper, IIT, AIMS, AIPMT, MSET Andhra, Delhi, etc. in each subject. For each unit, there will be 2 tests for you, totally 200 tests are there. So, another important feature, the Vetty Daughters is different from other online coaching is, if you review, click the menu, you can see your correct answer and your answer and the correct answer, and also a video recorded solution also you can see. Students, this is not available in any online coaching in India. This is special feature of Vetty Daughters. Suppose if you are interested to join with us at Vetty Daughters, this is very useful for poor students also, because we are charging only 10,000 rupees. So 10,000 rupees per year only we are charging. So you can pay 10,000 rupees in the name of Sandhi, Indian Bank account number 71271947, IFSC code IDIB000P134. And if you want to contact me, take the number 9894176425. Thank you.